Welcome to the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 243 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Monday, July 11th, 2022. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going?
Good, man. Good. We got through that first intro. We got the real one recorded, so...
I wasn't even going to acknowledge that this is the second attempt, but you got to go and do it.
Man, I have tears in my eyes.
Throw me under the bus.
Man, I have tears in my eyes from that, so I had to say something. Holy smokes!
Sometimes
we're here, man.
Sometimes I screwed up just to make you happy.
Right. Good stuff. Good stuff. How you doing?
Good. I'm here. We're recording Monday.
Back to the Monday schedule.
Yeah, a day early this week because we're trying to get James fired up, but he's cooled off a little bit since yesterday. He was on the anti-Ross Chastain bandwagon yesterday. Maybe we'll get him back there tonight. We'll see.
I feel like, I invested early in anti-Ross Island like a long time ago. And man, I am selling property on that island like you wouldn't believe. I could retire.
Yeah.
If it was a real island.
I don't know. You got a lot of drivers on there now. To be honest, James, I think you're running out of space on the island.
I am running out of space on the island, but you know what? It's a big island, so we can make a lot of room. Plus, drivers have a lot of money, so they want big properties.
So here's my theory on Ross Chastain. We'll just get into it.
Let's do it, man. Let's see if you can get the fire out of me. Let's go.
My theory, James, is here's this guy who's been running in mid to back of the pack. He's nobody. He hasn't had a chance. That's now running up here contending for a championship. Of course, everybody's mad at him.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, when you drive like that, of course they're going to be mad at you.
Yeah. I don't know.
He drives. This is going to sound bad. Here we go.
Oh no.
You might get it out of me, Eric. I'm starting to feel the eye of the tiger coming on. He drives like a hack, and he's been driving like a hack.
He had a damaged car yesterday.
I'm not giving him
slid up into Hamlin. Like, come on.
Control your car.
Come on.
Control your car.
I do agree with what Jeff Burton said, but I think James, Ross is getting. Let me put it this way. I think he's getting more than he deserves for what he's done now, but I think his history has made it to where he deserves what he's getting. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't think just what he's done this year. Because I went back and I stumbled across an old video of Ross. Well, somebody was talking about something that happened with Ross Chastain. I'm like, man, I don't remember that. So I went and found a video of Ross Chastain conflicts and fights and whatever on.
Did you see my Twitter post?
I don't think I did.
The Kevin Harvick comments.
Remember, I don't follow you anymore. Remember,
that's right. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm not. That's right. That's right.
I do follow you. I just don't go on Twitter very much during the week, so I miss stuff.
Yes, we're not friends on Twitter. That's cool. That's cool. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
But anyway, so I stumbled across this video of a bunch of old conflicts of his when he was not a front running driver. And yeah, I get it. I understand why nobody likes him. And I saw a little bit of it too, because when he made it into the Truck Series playoffs a couple years ago, when the regular season ended at Michigan, I interviewed him after the race, and he rubbed me the wrong way. He was a little too cocky for somebody who just made, who was kind of supposed to be the underdog, and that really bothered me. But
yeah,
past that point,
swagger.
Yeah, past that point, I'm sorry. I like the villain, and I'm happy with what he's doing. I like the fact that nobody likes him, and I think he's going to prove them wrong, and he's going to go out and win a championship this year right in their faces.
It's entertaining as hell to have guys like this.
Yeah.
The sport needs villains.
Yeah.
Kyle Busch can only be the villain for so long.
Who was the greatest villain of all time, and now he's the most revered driver ever.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's...
Do we have a Dale Earnhardt in the making? Is Ross Chastain a Dale Earnhardt in the making, James?
Man,
how do you know?
Take that, Eric, you take that island and tell me how that.
How do you know though? He could be.
I don't think so, man. Dale Earnhardt didn't drive like this.
Yes, he did.
No.
My God,
Eric.
Dale Earnhardt was an idiot. He drove like an idiot, James.
Eric, that's the title of the podcast right there. You did it. Yeah. That's gonna get us a million listens.
Dale Earnhardt drove like an idiot.
Yeah, Dale Earnhardt drove like an idiot. Wow, I can't believe you said that. I mean, here's the thing with Dale Earnhardt drove purposefully. I don't know, Eric. He's a seven-time
Dale
champion.
Jr. I swear, Dale Jr. will tell you he wrecked people for no reason in the middle of the pack.
Well, yeah, but
he did the same stuff that Chastain is doing. Right, exactly. So how is that different? The only difference between that and Chastain right now is that Chastain's at the beginning of his career.
Eric, I cannot believe you're trying to trump me with he's just Dale Earnhardt.
I'm just trying to get you riled up.
We did this argument with Kyle Busch.
I know.
Already.
Is it working? Are you fired up yet?
No, I'm getting there.
Right, exactly. That's my goal.
Eric, so we had 4 years ago, if you recall.
Yeah.
Ross Chastain was given a top flight ride in the Xfinity Series.
Mm-hmm.
And what did he do with that ride 4 years ago? A whole presidential term ago.
I don't even remember what ride we're talking about.
He was driving the 42 Chip Ganassi car, which was flat out fast.
He got into it with Harvick, right?
Got into it with Harvick.
Yeah.
Harvick said then he's immature.
Yeah, because here's a kid that's got talent,
Eric,
that's going up against somebody who's threatened.
But Eric, that was 4 years ago, and you're telling me it's only gotten worse in 4 years? It hasn't gotten any better.
Because everybody's threatened by him because he's so good.
They're not threatened by him is no. Nah, I'm not going to accept that. He is not They are not threatened by Ross Chastain.
Oh, they're scared. They're shaking in their boots. He's coming to win the championship this year.
Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson are really scared of him when it comes down to the playoffs. I'm sure they're shaking in their boots.
I really I wanted today to. I just didn't have time. I wanted to pull the audio for the intro of Eric Almirola saying I better not run into him at the Food Lion because
it's so good, man. I remember. So last night, I'm in my flurry of text messages to you last night. I said, "When's the last time Eric Almirola has been pissed at anybody?" And I honestly never been mad at anybody. And Austin Dillon's involved. I mean, you're talking about Ross Chastain wrecking people up front. He's working his way through the whole field. He's taking out the 10th to 15th guys too. He's just working his way all the way through the pack.
Now, before everybody sends me ones of letters, I'm just getting James riled up. I do love what Ross Chastain is doing. I love the fact that he's rubbing people the wrong way. I love the fact that he's getting into people because I like the drama. Would he?
I like the drama too, Eric.
Would he suit himself better by not doing this stuff? Hell yeah. I mean, yeah. He's setting himself up to be taken out of the playoffs. I still think there's a lot of talk. I argue, and I will die on this hill. Denny Hamlin ain't going to do anything. He's not going to do anything to him. He's talking too much. He's not going to do anything.
No, but you and I disagree here. Yeah. You and I disagree here because Denny Hamlin said he's going to make it count. And I believe Denny Hamlin will make it count.
I don't think he will. I hope he does, honestly, because it's more fun to talk about. But I don't think he will.
Yeah, I think the old guard isn't having any of this stuff. I mean, we saw it with Harvick last year.
Well, let's put it this way: the number of chances that Ross Chastain has to get taken out in the playoffs, they're increasing by the day.
This is a terrible analogy, but I'll say it. Every driver that he keeps pissing off, for lack of a better word, there's just more bullets being loaded into the chamber because they're all, he went from 1 to 2 to 3, and now it's going to be a full, it's going to be full on drivers all over him if he keeps it up.
I'll argue the two big wrecks that he was a part of yesterday, the Martin Truex Jr. wreck and the Denny Hamlin wreck. I'll argue that neither of those were fully his fault. And neither of them were that big of a deal if we get rid of everything else that's happened before this weekend. The problem is he has the history, especially with Denny Hamlin. If you get together with Denny, he needs to drive with 6 feet around Denny everywhere he goes because Denny's going to get pissed every time they touch. And he's had issues with Truex too. I mean, so I don't know. It just
it's a lot of he's had issues with everybody.
Again, it's when you're constantly that guy, it's going to eventually, people aren't going to tolerate a screw up. So you can't screw up anymore. And that's where he's at. Now, that being said, James, he finished second yesterday.
Yeah, and I would argue,
And that's what he's done all season. He continues to finish. He's second in the points. He continues to be right up front. He continues to be one of the leading championship contenders, no matter how mad everybody gets at him. So
Well, yeah,
if you were
he's
Ross
got a fast
Chastain, would you
car.
change anything?
I would, yeah, I would think about maybe apologizing a little bit. That's the problem, Eric. He's got a fast enough race car
Yeah.
that he doesn't need to do this. You don't see Chase Elliott completely dumping people and running into the people. We'll get into.
No, I mean,
We'll get into.
to be
the
fair,
end
Chase
here
Elliott
later.
did that in the truck series, but
Yeah.
but
But
then
yeah,
again, Chase
again-
Elliott learned, and now is, I mean,
It goes back to my point about 4 years ago when
Yeah.
Chase Elliott was barely starting in the Cup Series. So
Yeah.
yes, this is growth. Ross is just, at least Ross spared us his tears this week and didn't cry about it.
I'm with
and
you on
make up-
that. I want
make
Ross
up.
just to own it.
I mean, golly, yeah. If he's gonna go full heel,
Yeah.
man. Don't be like, oh yeah, shucks. I guess I got into him again.
Yep.
My car. The one of the great excuses of all time. My car was damaged and I underestimated how it was gonna handle. Sure, Ross. Okay, all right. Like you haven't driven thousands and thousands of laps with these cars and damaged race cars in the past. Come on, man. Give me a break.
I'll admit I was a wrestling fan back in the day, and I always loved the heels. So,
oh man,
I'm a Kyle
Eric,
Busch fan for that reason.
My favorite drivers were the biggest heels of all time. Tony Stewart, Ernie Irvan.
Right.
I mean, Ernie Irvan had to get up and apologize to people
That's
for how bad of a driver
I
he was.
still find it funny that you are so mad at Ross Chastain, but we're such
he
an Ernie
learned
Irvan
from his
fan.
mistakes. He showed contrition and learned from his mistakes. Man, oh, you got me almost. You got me
I know.
80% of the way there.
I know.
That was pretty good.
I could have kept going, but I just couldn't.
That's
I don't
all right.
want. I don't want our 5 or 6 listeners to be upset with me because of my terrible take.
Dale Earnhardt was an idiot. What a quote.
Dale Earnhardt did drive like an idiot, though. Especially early in his career, Dale Earnhardt drove like an idiot. He again, ask Darrell Waltrip, ask Jeff Bodine. Not that Jeff Bodine didn't drive like an idiot too, but Earnhardt,
Yeah.
we can't gloss over. Earnhart was not a clean driver. His most of his
God,
entire
no,
career.
he was not a clean driver. No.
So, and I do think Earnhardt's personality in the time or the era of the sport made it work then, and I don't think it can work now. You know what I mean? I don't think you can have that guy anymore.
Yeah, I don't think that guy.
Everybody's too
I don't know,
everybody's
man.
too buddy. It's hard to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing with Ross is that he's not in the garage hanging out with these guys. He is. Apparently
Eric,
the train is coming
will-
through.
That's great. No, I knew you lived over that way.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say real quick though. I will give you credit on the analogy in this sense. Earnhardt didn't give a crap, and Ross doesn't give a crap either. And Dale was bullish to the extent, but Dale was also extremely, extremely skilled, and
Right.
you knew like he was doing stuff on purpose when he was doing it on purpose, and he just, but he also was rough without wrecking people in a highly skilled way too. He could get up on you.
Terry
without
Labonte was his
actually
best
hurting.
friend, and he wrecked him to win a race.
Yeah,
I mean,
completely dumped him.
so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yep.
I think the similarities are stronger than maybe you want to believe. But again,
I don't.
we're at
yeah.
we're past the life of Dale Earnhardt. His legend has been made, and we're early in the Ross Chastain.
I don't
want to say legend because it's way too early to say something like that.
You can never win. I feel like when you're comparing the goats, like
Yeah.
There's never the Michael. Like, okay, yeah, he's Michael Jordan. No,
Right.
there's only one of those. That, but
Yeah.
there's definitely resemblances. There's imitators.
Mhm.
Maybe that's Ross. Maybe he's not the intimidator. Maybe he's just that guy.
I mean, I would be more threatened by Ross talking smack than Kyle Busch talking smack.
I still don't know. I just don't think. I don't know. I don't. I take. I don't.
And
take
Kyle's
Ross
bigger
seriously.
than Ross. I mean, I've stood face to face with both of them. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, Kyle's
Well,
a big
Brexton's
dude.
bigger than
Right.
bigger than Ross
That's
too.
true.
So.
The only one not bigger than him is Tyler Reddick.
Yeah. Right.
We have gone, almost 15 minutes into
That
the
was
podcast.
That's how we needed to start this episode.
It is.
I don't care.
I
I
agree.
don't care who won the race.
Yeah.
That's where the bones of this episode were. And now we're gonna fly. Let's go.
And but talking about championship contenders, James, we've got a driver now that has won 3 races. We have one driver who has separated himself from the pack, and that's Chase Elliott, the guy at the beginning of the season, the guy last year that we said, oh, he's out to lunch at Hendrick, man. He's been passed by Kyle Larson.
Yeah. We talked last week really about, the pack is so tight. There's no real favorite. And with this race, Chase Elliott got 7 playoff points. He maxed out, and all of a sudden he emerged as that's the favorite right there.
Yep.
He's got a nice, comfortable points lead. He's running really well pretty much everywhere. He got off to a little bit of a sluggish start this season, but now he's racked up 3 wins and looks like the guy who may have the best feel for this race car now, because he could have won last week too. I think people forgot that real quick.
Right.
This could have been back to back, if things play out a little bit differently. So yeah, Chase Elliott ran a great race, and made the move at the end. That was also controversial, but
Yeah.
I think that's just super speedway
I don't
racing.
know why it was so controversial. I
don't see a problem with it. That's super speedway racing.
I
We
get
have
that
to
everybody
expect
wanted.
that.
I mean, everybody was cheering for Corey LaJoy. Of course, Corey really has no enemies in the fan base. I think everybody pretty much respects Corey and what he's done now. People now respect the Spire, mission
Yeah.
and what they're doing, which is funny because when Justin Haley was racing for him, nobody did.
Oh yeah, I remember they were getting laughed out of nobody took him seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, so everybody wanted him to win. Chase is the most popular driver, and I can't believe that Chase is getting flack for that move. I mean, this is guys, this is a super speedway type race. You block. That's what you do.
Yeah, you keep your lead any way you
Yeah.
possibly can, and
And
Chase didn't do anything.
he
wrong.
didn't put Corey into the wall. Corey put himself into the wall.
Yeah, Corey went for it.
Yeah.
Corey has no reason to hold back.
No.
He has to go there, and
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't matter for Corey to finish second. It doesn't matter.
No, he has to win.
Yep.
Everything has to come. Everything he does has to be a win.
Yep.
And man, that story of him calling his shot and saying he was coming here to win this race,
Right?
how cool would that have been?
Yeah.
I was definitely pulling for him until I saw Eric Jones creeping back into the
I
picture,
know.
and then I started yelling for Jones
Yep.
at the end. I was like, man, come on, Eric, go get it.
I
would've
wanted
been
to
sweet.
see somebody else out of the top, out of the
Yeah,
playoffs right now get in
man.
with the win.
Eric Jones heading into Daytona is gonna look awful juicy because I just that
And how
team-
good of a story would Corey LaJoy have been? Because now then you got
both of them.
You got this guy who's outside of the top 30 right now that now has to get back into the top 30. So now you're looking long term. Can he do it? Can he get in?
Can he
throw
get
that
to
extra,
Daytona?
Yeah, throw those extra resources into that team. I mean, yeah, it's just
Yep.
such a juicy storyline. But Chase had to go and run
Yeah.
it.
Man, he ran such a great race.
He did.
I can't take anything away from him. I
Yeah.
mean, that was a great run for Corey LaJoy. Don't get much better than that.
Yeah.
Really cool to see. And Chase, back to him real quick. Just I never thought of him as a speedway guy, but he ran this race so well.
Yeah.
He just and it's starting to click off lots of top tens, and he's just kind of becoming that guy right now, which is pretty I don't know, pretty cool to see. He's got that home track win.
Well, that's the thing.
The siren was going off.
The
Your favorite?
siren, man. Ah, God, I hate that.
Siren.
I got to hear it for the first time in the Fox broadcast, and it annoyed me.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't live in Dawsonville. good for the Dawsonville folks, but and it's cool they have the tradition. It's cool that they did it with Bill and that they do it with Chase. And I'll give NBC credit for doing that, but I think this rut in the city or whatever thing is just stupid. But whatever. I like everything else that I like everything else that NBC's doing. So. Yeah, I know, right? But I mean, you and I, James, we're from Michigan. We've gone to the MIS races. We've watched Brad Keselowski and Eric Jones try to get wins at Michigan and not be able to pull it off. I'm a Kyle Busch fan. Watched Kyle try to get that win at Vegas and finally get it, and how much it meant, and Kurt how much it meant when he got it.
Yeah.
It's cool to see a driver win on their home track, especially when it's a track like Atlanta that, and Chase is a driver that has one home track, unlike like Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex Jr., who have like 15.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it just cool to see him get it done.
Yeah, it's high up there probably on his career list. And I forgot to mention, Eric, I said Chase almost went back to back. I forgot he won Nashville and would have been 3 in a row.
Right.
Had he won at Road America. So that's the kind of run he's on right now, just to give you
scary at this point in the season.
Yep, very scary. If he's getting hot, if somebody, Eric, we've been waiting an entire season so far for somebody to get hot.
Yeah.
And he's hot right now. He's the guy.
How good is it? I mean, this goes back to an old Kevin Harvick comment from way back that pissed off Dale Jr., but how great is it to have the most popular driver winning races and just winning a championship a couple years ago? I mean, it's great for the sport to have him be one of the top guys or the leading candidate for the championship right now. It's
absolutely. Yeah, you got to have that guy up there. I think we're seeing it a little bit in Formula One right now because I think Lewis is so beloved. You see a lot of people saying, because that team's struggling just a little bit this year.
Right.
And he's not winning for the first time, and you can kind of see some of the grumblings of the fan base on that end. So, that's something in NASCAR we've experienced for, hate to bring up Dale Jr. in that way, but something that NASCAR fans grumbled with for quite a while, for long stretches of time. So, yeah, Chase is a perennial winner. He's going to win. He's going to win his 2 to 5 races every season, I think, for the next, however long he wants to race, 15 years or so. He's going to be that guy. Kevin Harvick-esque, I guess. He's just going to keep winning.
I mean, shoot, if he adds another championship this year, now he's equal to the only other driver with multiple championships in Kyle Busch, active. So
at a young
yeah, right. I mean, so it's long ways to go. I mean, he's only got 3 wins. Normally somebody have like 5 at this point and be a leading candidate, but
well, he only had 2 wins at all of last year, and one of them was a rain out, and they were only on road courses. So this is definitely he's almost approaching his laps led total for the entire year last year too. He's only a couple hundred off of that, so he's definitely rounding back into full blown form here. So pretty cool.
So we've seen 2 races now on the newly configured Atlanta Motor Speedway. What'd you think, James? What was your overall opinion of what we saw yesterday at Atlanta?
It's definitely exciting. I do feel conflicted about it a little bit still, because it doesn't seem right, but at the end of the race, it's exciting as heck, and you've got that Daytona Talladega excitement that, I mean, it's the same feeling. When the laps are winding down, you get to 15 to go, 10 to go.
My heart was beating so hard at that last restart.
And you got one of your guys charging. Like I love rooting for Eric Jones, admittedly. And when he was coming flying up through the pack, I'm like, oh boy, this is good. This is good stuff. And Corey LaJoie's up there. Yeah, it feels like a super speedway race. And I miss the old Atlanta still. But there's no I know, but there's no argument to be made here. As conflicted as I still feel about it, this was the right decision for this racetrack.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about it.
I agree. I'm super disappointed the stands weren't more full yesterday, but I will say that there was a major threat of weather going into the weekend, and it was hot. Yeah, so those things. I mean, this race would not be a bad thing to run under the lights, especially in the heat. It would cool it down and give even better racing for these cars. These specific Cup cars, I think.
Yep.
We definitely saw handling be an issue, which it was so funny that in the Xfinity race, nobody was expecting handling to be an issue, and then they take off and almost the whole field wrecks. And then the Cup guys are like, yeah, but that's not going to be us. And then they do the same damn thing. I mean, it's like, I mean, I get it. Nobody got to run a lap on the track before the race, so that, you don't know what you got. But James, I love it. I said yesterday, about halfway through the race, that this may be my new favorite racetrack. I still think my favorite track is Talladega. I love the thrill of Talladega.
Yeah.
But man, I would love to have a ticket to Atlanta and go to one of these races. Go ahead.
You know, Eric, I texted my brother-in-law who's in our fantasy league too, Mike, and I just threw out the question. What'd you think of this? What do you think of this track? And he, you know, he's a newer fan over the last 2 years, and he pretty much watches every week. And this is all new to him still, but said he loved it.
Yeah.
Like, loves this track, loved this race. And I'm like, NASCAR did its job. You know, that was my one person test case, but for a newer fan, I mean, that's what NASCAR is trying to get.
Well, I think this track
hook 'em
is
in.
perfect for the new fan.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the casual fan sees this race and they are hooked, and they're like, why isn't every week like this?
Yeah, of course.
Which we don't want
I
it to
get
be
that.
like this every week.
No,
I don't
No,
personally.
the hardcore fans don't. Yeah, the hardcore fans wouldn't want this every week, and I don't think the drivers would like that either if it was like this every week.
66% on Jeff Gluck's poll right now.
Yeah, I mean that's your hardcore fan base, and that's a Chase Elliott win,
Right.
66%.
Yeah, but the only guy that could disappoint Chase Elliott fans by being beat by Chase Elliott might be Corey LaJoy.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
exactly. I think Corey LaJoy
Well,
gets
and-
that win, and that number goes up.
you run the same exact race at Talladega, and you're in the 90s.
Yeah,
I think
probably,
Yeah.
probably.
You know, I will say though, one thing I have thought of, and I could be, I'm open to being wrong here, and if let me know if you disagree. If this track was a little wider, I think maybe it might be even better. I think it might be too narrow. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it just needs to
I mean,
widen.
it's-
I think the groove needs to widen out more so than the
Yeah.
track does.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's enough grip at the top. They worked on a little bit this weekend. The Xfinity cars certainly were getting up there, but I don't think there's enough up there. James, it's a mile, so you have to think about
Well,
this. We're running,
And the corners aren't big sweeping corners.
Right.
It's tight. It's tight all the way around.
when you think about it, like you go, it's still a big track, but if you really think about it, Talladega and Daytona are 2.5 miles. We're going to
Yeah.
New Hampshire this weekend. This track takes a Talladega or a Daytona and takes New Hampshire out of it. That's how much
Yes.
smaller this is
Yes.
than Daytona and Talladega. So
Yep.
I don't think I think you could make the track twice as wide, and it's still going to be so cramped in the turns because it's just tight. The radius is tight.
When you're trying to get through a corner that's that sharp,
Yeah.
there's only so much radius you can do. You can't really go and rim ride.
Well, and that's
like
one of the things
you
that I
can.
like about this track too is that we have the super speedway aspect, but it's not full super speedway. We still have
Right.
some of that 1.5 mile stuff in there, some of that intermediate stuff in there. It's not quite a super speedway, but it's definitely not an intermediate. And it's just, I think they said it on Gluck's podcast, it's just different. And that's good. It's good that we have a different track. You know, we have Michigan now and California that are significantly different from each other. Those are kind of outliers on the circuit now. You got Pocono that's different. I mean, all these tracks that were cookie cutters before now are starting to have their own thing that makes them unique, and that's good. They don't all look like the same track anymore, even though they
Yes.
might be the same shape.
Yeah, and I'm even looking forward more to Michigan.
Yeah, me
now,
too.
Because it's.
Do we want this type of racing there?
Maybe a version of it. I don't
Yeah.
think to this extent.
Well, and my next question was going to be...
I want to see what it looks like.
My next question is going to be, we have a track that is shaped very similarly to this track. That's terrible.
Yeah.
In Texas Motor Speedway. Would we want SMI to do this to Texas too?
Anything you do to Texas that improves it, I don't care what you do. But if you make, let's say they, well, Eric, maybe that's my test case. Make Texas the wide Atlanta and let's see it. You can't ruin that track any more than they already did.
Right.
It's already broken.
I don't know.
Put some banking in there and let's go. Keep it wide and let's move.
I am the biggest Super Speedway fan. I love this edition. I love the fact that we go here twice. I don't want to see it anywhere else because I think it's special still with 6 races.
Well,
I think when you
Gluckin,
I think you do 7 or 8 races now on this style of track, and it starts to go.
Yeah.
You start to go. It's kind of like a road course now. We don't really like it anymore. As much as I'd love to see it at Michigan, I just want Michigan to be a good race. I don't really care that we still see the style of racing. I just want it to be a good race.
Yeah, Gluck and Bianchi on the teardown hinted at this a little bit too, but so I'll steal their point. Basically, having Atlanta like this gives us a little more balance in the schedule.
Yeah.
because now you have 6 road course races, 6 short tracks, and 6 super speedways with the intermediate sprinkled in. You've got a pretty decent blend of tracks. It's almost to the point, if it's going to be like this, maybe we have to sneak another super speedway into the playoffs, or maybe it's just right when you got the last chance race is a super speedway race, and then you got Talladega in the playoffs. So I think we're in a pretty good spot here with what we've got.
You know what I'd really like to see them do, James? I would like them to take this race at Atlanta, make it the cutoff race before the playoffs,
and make
it the regular season finale, and put Daytona back on 4th of July weekend.
Well, we're going to talk about what's going to happen on 4th of July, Eric.
I know.
That's just a pipe dream.
Yeah, I know. But I think that would make the most people happy, is to see Daytona go back to that 4th of July weekend, including the teams.
That Daytona race has been so good.
I know.
It's been so
I know.
good.
Can you imagine that extra intensity on a mile smaller track with the same style of racing?
Yes. Yeah, it would be nuts.
I mean,
it would be nuts.
I do wonder how long that this track will be able to maintain the style of racing.
Yes, that's another. Yeah, when the pavement starts to fade.
Because they built this pavement to wear out here.
Yeah.
It is designed to wear out like the old Atlanta. And once it gets to that point, I don't see this style of racing anymore. And I think we saw an example of it on Saturday with the Xfinity race, because this track, and now you have to look at the Xfinity cars. And one thing to consider is that those Xfinity cars, I was listening to the late shift tonight on Sirius XM on my way home. And one thing to consider is that they don't run the super speedway package in the Xfinity cars on this track. They don't have the big spoilers. They don't have the big rear bumper and all that they run on the super speedways. So put that package on the car. Maybe it runs more like Daytona and Talladega. I don't know. But I think what we saw on Saturday is not what we want to see at Atlanta.
No,
I don't think it worked out. I think the Xfinity cars were great in the spring, but on that hot track with this package, they didn't work very well. It was not a good race.
Yeah, and I hope that, and this car seems to be playful.
Yeah.
When you want to mix and match, so maybe that you can keep adjusting on the car, and you keep the racing looking like what we've got for a while.
Yeah.
If you think about Michigan and that repave, they repaved it so well.
Right.
I don't know what Atlanta built to wear out for sure, but let's see it. I'd like to come back here in the spring, and I do like the fact that we're not going to quite know what we got every time we come here for a while, though, either, which is kind of cool.
I'm still curious, too, like how much of this is the track and how much of it is the car. Because we do run the super speedway style package, the lower horsepower here with this new car only at Atlanta. Yeah. So if we were to stick this package on a car at Michigan, would it race like this? How much of it is the track? Because I don't think we added a ton of banking to Atlanta. We added, 4 degrees or something was all it was. It wasn't a lot.
Yep.
So I don't know. It's interesting to see.
Yep.
So.
Yep. Absolutely.
Just looking at the results of the race, trying to see. I mean, we mentioned Eric Jones. Good run for him. Finishes in the top 5 with a 4th place finish. Justin Haley finishes 7th. He was up front throughout the day. Definitely contender. We mentioned Corey LaJoie leading. Let's see, where is he at? 19 laps on the day, and almost getting himself a win. Ends up with a 21st place finish after the last lap wreck. Let's see. I don't know. Austin Dillon had a hell of a hit. That was just a terrible hit. Anytime you see that safer barrier flex like that. Yeah, Logano was airborne.
Yeah, and finished on the lead lap.
Yeah.
After wrecking a couple of times. Kyle Busch, he was all messed up. The car, the durability of the car, man. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I picked Bubba Wallace, and they were complaining about problems at the very beginning of the race. He was down a lap and ends up 14th.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I should say Logano got back to the lead lap. He didn't finish on the lead lap.
Yeah, 26th for Logano.
Eric, you ready to feel old?
Sure.
Our 10th place finisher is Harrison Burton.
Uh-huh.
That is the first top 10 in NASCAR Cup Series history recorded by someone born after the year 2000.
Oh, my God.
Holy crap.
That's ridiculous.
That's super old, I feel, after hearing that stat. And he led laps. That was Harrison Burton's had a rough go, but that was his best showing so far this year.
Well, after that stat, this is the Super Speedway Podcast. We'll see you next week. Shut her down.
Yeah, we're the jury. Yeah, we are becoming super old right in front of our own eyes.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yep.
13 caution flags for 64 laps. Print, yeah. Speaking of getting old, the print is too small on these these result sheets.
Yeah.
27 lead changes among 12 drivers. We were starting out early. It was looking like it was going to be even more than that. They were really swapping the lead back and forth, but those guys figured out how to do some blocking up front and making it work.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think 66% is low. I think this was a great race.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't want to see it 12 times a year, but twice a year is awesome. And
Yep,
can't wait to go back next year.
Yep, I joked with you that if they tore it down and tried again, I'd be okay with it. But honestly, that was tongue in cheek. This is good. This is good.
Yep. Let's see. Chase Elliott extends his points lead, 47 points over Ryan Blaney. Let's see.
Oh, Eric,
Yeah.
we didn't talk about the caution. We should do that.
Which caution?
That last caution. Why didn't they let him run to the finish line? Why did they call the caution?
With the wreck with Ross Chastain and
with
Corey LaJoy.
With Corey LaJoy. Corey LaJoy's wreck.
Because it's NASCAR.
Because Chase Elliott was in the lead still.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, the competition caution happened to wait until Chase Elliott took the lead.
Ross Chastain has a legit argument that he should have won this race, or at least had a chance to win this race, because he was there. And
they were pretty quick with that yellow.
It was too fast.
But, I mean, it did happen like the second row. So
I hate that. I hate it. So I hate it so much, man.
I hate it. Well,
they could run to the line.
This is what I hate about super speedway racing, is that we almost never get to the checkered flag anymore. And I don't want green white checkers, like multiple green white checkers or anything.
I agree.
I want to see them race to the line and wreck at the line.
Let the cars that are right there for the lead run to the line and throw the caution right when they get there. Let the leader cross.
The problem is these guys, they put the helmet on, and that helmet squeezes all the blood out of their brain. And if they're behind the wreck and the caution's not out, they hold it wide open and drive into the wreck.
Oh man. You know, I said NASCAR rigged this race, but if they were rigging races, Chase Elliott would have won that Daytona 500.
Right.
That Michael McDowell won.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, golly, was I frustrated about that. That probably got me just as mad as anything Ross Chastain did. and the funniest part about it is Ross Chastain could have won the damn race.
Yeah.
If it went the other way, but I didn't care. I wanted to see him get to the line. Damn it. It makes me mad.
Austin Cindric was the highest finishing rookie in this one, third place.
Yep, sitting on the bench of my fantasy team. That was the smart move by me.
NASCAR Xfinity Series raced here on Saturday at Atlanta. We already kind of hinted at the race. Not quite playing out exactly like we hoped it would from the spring. But Austin Hill was able to redeem himself, get himself a win.
Well, I'll take it because I had him in our picks.
Right?
Yeah, I'll take that.
And you should, because I wanted him. So he was my long shot pick that you took away from me. So I guess it wasn't such a long shot.
I got the dub. That was pretty cool. I was like, hey, heck yeah, I'm rooting for that guy.
Right.
Go get it.
Right.
So two career wins for Austin Hill now, both super speedway races.
This one we managed to get through without tearing a ton of cars up, which was pretty surprising. Jesse Awuji managed to spin early, so you can always guarantee that's going to happen.
Yep. Ty Gibbs got involved.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs with trouble. My pick finishes 35th.
Yeah. There was a kerfuffle, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, is there anything else? Ryan Truex finishes third of that 18 car. Good on him.
That 18 cars. Yeah, that 18 car's fast.
Yeah, it's nice to see Ryan doing something in that car. Sounds like the way they were talking about it on TV, that was an auto owner's deal. They like Martin and they like Truex running that car, so they threw it together for him to run this race. That's cool.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah, Ryan. Ryan's one of those guys who just kind of never got. We're gonna talk about another guy in our next race who just never quite got the breaks right.
Yeah.
But Ryan's a dang good driver.
I still think Ryan had the best T-shirts ever.
Yes.
When he had the hand-drawn stick figure 16 car when he drove on the Truck Series.
The Truck Series, yeah. And it said Ryan Truex Jr. on it.
Yep. Yeah. It's good stuff.
Yeah, that was really good.
Anything else with this one, James? We can just skip right past it, right?
Yeah, I think we spent enough time on Atlanta now. I think we're good.
Sounds good. Truck Series were in action for the first time in Mid-Ohio Sports Car Park or course or whatever the heck it's called. And we saw the series that has the reputation for being the roughest, most disrespectful series out there, with a nice, clean, respectful race to the finish, and Parker Kligerman outdueling Zane Smith.
Dude,
And
Parker
getting himself a
Kligerman
win. That was his third Truck Series win, I think, right?
dominated this race.
Yeah, he did.
That was awesome. Is there a more popular win?
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's
Man.
not many guys in the garage, I think, that are more universally liked than Parker Kligerman.
Yeah, he wins all of his races with part-time stuff. I mean, he won that Talladega race. He won 2 Talladega races.
Well, that's
so
because the guy just, like you said, he just won't get the chance, and he just doesn't have the funding behind him. He's got the skill.
Him and Landon Castle came up at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Those guys should be like driving for Hendrick. You know, if things, you know, if they don't come during the crash of 07 and 08, I just feel like those guys are, you know, they're winners in the Cup Series if things break differently. But yeah, cool to see Parker, and he's made a great career for himself in TV. But it's cool to see that he can run part-time. And I mean, Eric, he's run 8 races this year. He's got 5 top 10s.
Yeah.
So this is not. I mean, I mean, that team, if they went full time, they'd be in the hunt.
Yep.
For the championship.
Third victory in 106 Camping World Truck Series races for him. Yeah. He dominated, and when Zane came through the field and looked like the guy to beat. And I thought, you know, I was listening to the radio broadcast, and Mike Bagley says that, you know, they asked him at the end of the stage, like, now that if Zane gets the lead on the restart, is he just going to run away with it? And he's like, yeah, you know, he's definitely going to. And no, Parker passed him back and kept with him, and it's just great race. I will admit that I listened to most of this on the radio. I watched the last 10 laps, so.
I watched a lot of practice, which was actually really fun.
I didn't watch any of it, but it looked entertaining.
It was a mess. Yeah, it was a mess. You can see why. You know, I know he didn't win this race, and Zane's got a handful of wins. He's definitely the championship favorite right now. He's the points leader. But man, watching Zane Smith drive now, you can tell why Ford really likes this kid in the pipeline. He's gonna get a call up. He's not going to be driving Truck Series much longer.
Well,
I don't know how long.
Is he going through Xfinity, or is he going straight to Cup?
I don't know, man.
I mean,
don't know.
It said a lot when he went to when he got the Busher call, when Busher couldn't race.
Yeah, he went right straight to the Busher, took the Busher's seat, and gosh, I'd be scared if I was Busher. I don't know.
Right?
I mean, I don't know what the landscape looks like for Ford, but I wouldn't be surprised if Zane found himself in the Cup Series, or at least a top flight Xfinity Series ride.
I mean, there's a potential SHR car open, but then they were hinting on DBC this week that Eric Almirola is hinting he might not retire. So
no, Jesus,
I don't know. Smithfield likes him, so if
he's having too much fun,
if he wants to stay, I'm sure Smithfield's going to back him, and that's all it takes to run that car.
Yeah, he could run part-time somewhere. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Interesting.
So
that's interesting. I hadn't heard that one.
Yeah, they were talking about that on DBC last week, and interesting too, because obviously that's one of the places we're going to talk about Kyle Busch in a little bit. That's one of the places he could go, and if that seals up, I don't know. So let's see. Justin Marks ran this race as well, had a brake failure, scary incident, but comes out of it okay.
Yeah, he got what he wanted, driving trucks again.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I can't even imagine. I've had the brakes go out in a vehicle, and I can't imagine doing it at 150 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Going into a turn.
Yeah.
So lucky that thing didn't hook in the sand and just flip.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Yeah, that was rough. The strange season of John Hunter Nemechek continues.
Right.
Just a strange season he's having.
Yeah.
Not lighting the world on fire by any means.
Yeah, they had a mechanical issue in this one.
Yeah. Just more bad luck, really.
And then Haley Deegan gets top 10 finish.
That was awesome.
Place. Good for her.
Yeah, we got to call that out every time that happens.
Definitely.
Yep. Highest finishing Ford other than Zane Smith. So that's pretty cool. Carson
Hocevar continues to be there, top 3.
Yep. That was next on my list. I cannot believe how impressive he continues to be with that busted leg. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He has put together some great runs.
Yeah. He hasn't lost a beat.
No, he's been better.
Yeah.
He got a pole. Damn. I mean, okay, so he broke his leg the week before Sonoma.
Yep.
He got the pole, finished 6th there. He should have probably won.
He didn't finish 6th there, but he got.
Well, yeah,
credit
the
for
car
finishing
finished sixth. But yeah, he was good enough to get it on the pole and get the sub, right?
Yeah.
And then and then you go to Knoxville. He should have won that race.
Yep.
And then third at Nashville, third at Mid Ohio.
Yep.
Dang, man, that's a great run he's on right now.
Yeah, definitely. Kaz Grala with a top 10 finish, 7th place. Derek Kraus, top 10 finish. Another one that continues to improve. He's been significantly better this year. Colby Howard in 9th place, the 91 truck. So good on him.
Eric, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
How come Xfinity Series isn't going back to Mid Ohio? I guess I was out of the loop on that one.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Huh.
And I think this is a placeholder for the trucks because I think we're going back to Canada next year. So.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it's sounding like that. I mean, I'd be shocked if we don't go back to Mosport now that the.
I think if
now the
IndyCar
pandemic's
is
over.
still, if IndyCar is still running Mid Ohio like they've been, we should have a cup, or not a cup. I'm sorry, Cheese of Pete's. We should have a NASCAR race there.
I mean, honestly, I don't see why we. I mean, I don't want another Cup road course, but if we want to rotate some
No.
road courses around, why don't we stick to Cup cars here? It's a better.
Well,
I think it's a better racing track than Road America.
Well, yeah, for NASCAR, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
a nice short track. It's got
It's
good-
it's the type of it's a NASCAR style short track. I think we
well, it's
we talked
also
about
got
last
that.
week.
It's got that
was-
kink at the end, so you got the opportunity for the bump and run in the last couple turns
and
coming
it's
to the checkers.
short enough.
Yeah.
It's short enough. It's how long? It's 2.2 miles. So that's
I mean, obviously, I've never been in any of these, so I don't know what the infrastructure is like if it could support a Cup race or not. But
It looks like it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
well, it's in Ohio, so
Yeah. Well, yeah.
you've been to Ohio, right? I mean,
If you've been to Ohio, you've seen it all.
there's
Yep.
Columbus, there's Cincinnati, there's Cleveland, and there's nothing.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I mean, Eldora's in the middle of nowhere, and yeah,
The holy ground. Yes.
right.
Yep.
Yeah, Ohio makes Michigan look interesting. So, anything else with the Truck Series, James?
Nope. I think that's it, man.
They get another weekend off this weekend. Let's see. Who was the highest finishing rookie in this one, James?
I just closed my racing reference.
Lawless Allen in 24th.
I love that guy.
He's got the best name ever.
Man, Lawless Allen. That is
Dude,
like he's
he's-
like a gunslinger.
He should have been a sheriff.
Oh man, he should have been a robber in like Deadwood or something.
Should run for sheriff.
Man, what a great name. That's the greatest. He's the next Dick Trickle.
Yeah,
One of the great names in
Could
all
be.
of racing.
could be.
I
Dick
can't think
Dick
of any-
Trickle, who would get reported on ESPN Sports Center every weekend. Just
Oh
because
yeah,
of his name.
Charlie. Yeah. Oh god, what was that anchor's name?
I have
Anyway,
no
he would
idea.
giggle. He would giggle. Yeah. God, his laugh. That was so funny. I love. Oh man, those are good days.
Speaking of races that weren't terribly exciting, James, SRX was back in action this weekend.
Yeah, this was the stinker of the season.
Yeah.
Even so, I found it entertaining as heck. But
The racing
not the
was
best
good.
race.
It was good to see Bobby Labonte finally get a win in SRX.
oh, that was cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you ask in the notes, is the track too fast for SRX? I think so. I think it's too big. I think it's too
Yes,
fast.
might be too big. Yeah, but it's great. It's great to have racing there on
Yeah.
a high level.
Yeah, and I think
So-
that's why they're there.
Yeah, and the race last year, if I remember it, from Nashville, that was the Elliott race that Chase ended up
Yeah.
coming in and winning, and the crowd definitely suffered from no Elliottts being in this
Well,
one.
it also again was another race that had weather issues.
Yeah.
We almost got to see our first rain delay / rain out for SRX.
Yeah, SRX has been extremely lucky so
Yeah, they
far.
have.
It hasn't had any problems. But yeah, this was, I don't think any SRX race is bad.
Right.
This was entertaining because SRX finds ways to stay entertaining. It's just this track's big for
Yeah.
the SRX cars. These cars really are, spectacular on the shortest of short tracks. This Nashville just carries a lot of speed, and yeah, I mean Bobby, that's cool. I mean that was so cool. His interview after the race was so honest. I just feel like I hadn't seen a driver be honest before.
I honestly I didn't watch it because I was falling
Oh.
asleep watching this race. I watched
Yeah.
it late, and so I was.
Well,
I was.
He said, I'm going to be honest with you, that I am intimidated racing in this field.
Yeah.
And he said, I actually came to the conclusion that I'm never going to win.
Hmm.
And he said, I was okay with that because I get in these cars and these guys are so good. And you've got, guys coming in like Joseph Newgard and Matt Kenseth. Marco Andretti, and he just said, these guys, they're super talented drivers, and he's like, at my age, I just didn't think I was ever going to win. And to see Bobby back in victory lane after so many years is really cool. He's one of the forgotten champions of NASCAR, so to see him, get one is pretty cool. And he's, I think, right, I haven't seen the SRX standings because they don't put them out until about Wednesday or Thursday, but he's got to be right there with Ryan Newman for the points lead. So we got ourselves a little bit of a championship tussle going on there.
Speaking of that, I mean, there's only 13 cars in this field. Why the hell can't SRX put the results up on their website by Monday?
They're pretty slow. They're pretty slow with the points. The results are they get the results there, but
they're not up there right now. I had to go to CBS to get them.
I know it's a little slow. You gotta do better.
Yeah, like you said, good to see Bobby Lamonte get the win. What was up with your boy? Must have had car issues or something.
Yeah, he had to pit at one point, and they asked him if he was okay during the broadcast, and he said, "This is all I got tonight, guys. Yeah. I can't really do much." So, if Tony wants to win the championship, he's gonna have to go and do what he did last year and sweep these dirt track races.
Well, if you're going somewhere and you're Tony Stewart, it's probably the place to go.
Yeah, and this is
he made him look pretty silly on dirt last year.
He did. He was super good. But those, Knoxville and Eldora, I mean, he knows those tracks pretty well. So yeah, we're gonna find out if he can win this championship or not. This is the second race he's finished outside the top 10, though. He's whether it's the car or something, he just doesn't quite have the dominance he had last year. But Eric, the guys coming into this season, we're bringing in some pretty stout guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Kenseth at age 50 is still one of the best wheelmen out there. He's
third place finish here in this one.
Yeah, showed up first race in SRX, third place finish. Joseph Newgarden won a heat and then ended up wrecking, but that was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
to see somebody so talented in the IndyCar series.
Another near podium for your favorite driver in the old number 3.
He is. Ever since I said I can do what he can do. He's done everything I can't do. So, but he's running. I mean, he's erratic as all get out, but he's driving a lot honest I mean, he's
doing a lot better without people running him over. I mean,
yeah, you can't take it away from him.
To be honest,
he's running really well.
To be honest, Paul Tracy had a big issue with people running him over. I don't know that it was fully his fault, but
he's the Ross Chastain of SRX.
Yeah.
And we brought the podcast full circle.
Right.
Look at that.
Anything else at this one? Where the heck do we go this weekend? We go
to I-55 Raceway, and we've got
Peevely, Missouri.
Ken Schrader.
Oh yeah,
is going to be driving. It's his track, and then we're heading to Sharon for the championship in Hartford, Ohio. So we're going back to Ohio for that. There you go.
Cool. Not much in the news. We did get some more news on the Chicago street course, thanks to Jordan Bianchi breaking the story, filing some Freedom of Information Acts.
Yep, I was just gonna say one of your favorite things.
Yeah.
As a news editor.
Even beat Adam Stern to the punch with those, and got some info about the Chicago street course race. That the agreement is there. It's not signed yet. Sounds like there's some political pressure against it, though, James. It'll be interesting to see if it actually pulls through or not. This is a big deal to shut down one of the biggest cities in the country to run a NASCAR race. I mean, IndyCar's tried it, and IndyCar failed at Chicago.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens with it. I took a step back this week, James. Especially after listening to the teardown, I took a step back, tried to take the personal feelings out of it because I want Chicagoland back, and just try to look at it objectively for what's best for the sport. And I agree with those guys. If this happens, it's a big deal for the casual fan. It's just like the race at the Coliseum. This is something that's good for NASCAR, for the younger crowd, to bring younger people into the sport. Even if we don't get to go back to my beloved Chicagoland Speedway.
Yeah, I think your beloved Chicagoland is I just think it's probably dead.
If this race happens, that track might as well be bulldozed because it's over.
Yeah, we're this close to this thing happening, and it's not set in stone, like you said, Eric.
The thing is Chicagoland's sitting there ready to be fired back up. If we can run at North Wilkesboro again, we can run at Chicagoland again. So until this thing's signed And until we're pulling haulers into this place, there's still a possibility.
Well, and as long as Chicagoland is standing and is not a parking lot,
Right.
You know, like Nazareth Speedway, for
Right.
example, or
Well,
heck, I
Nazareth,
think even
there's actually an agreement signed that they can't race there. That's part of the agreement with the track.
That's so sad.
I know.
That's an off-season podcast, maybe, but
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Chicagoland still, it's on life support, but it's still there.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, listen, man. Formula One races street courses all over the world.
Yeah.
NASCAR can do one.
Yeah. It's not going to be a good race, but that's not what it's about. This race is
the Coliseum was not good. The Coliseum was not good racing. It was a thing.
Yeah.
It was a thing.
Yeah, it was a spectacle.
So,
the difference between this and the Coliseum is that this will be a points-paying event, you would assume.
Oh,
whereas
yeah.
the Coliseum was an exhibition that the top 36 teams were forced to run. Yeah.
Man, shutting down Chicago, though.
I don't know. The traffic in Chicago is bad enough before you close streets down, so...
Well, like the city of Nashville embraces IndyCar racing on their streets.
Yeah.
You know, Long Beach, right? Embraces.
Yeah.
Man.
And I think we talked about it last week. The Long Beach Grand Prix is terrible.
Yeah.
It's an awful race, but it's there because of the spectacle. Monaco Grand Prix, most prestigious Formula One race there is, sucks.
Yep.
But we all tune in every year.
Eric, this is going to happen in our backyard literally 1 year from now.
Yeah.
When they shut down the city of Detroit to run an IndyCar race instead of having it at Belle Isle.
Yep.
And I don't know what that's going to be.
Well, I mean,
honestly,
Detroit, not quite as active as Chicago, but
well, where they want to run that race, it sure as hell
that's
is.
true. That's true.
I mean, golly, man, they're going to run that thing right by the I-75.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess if this one happens and I can get credentials to it, I might have to hit both of them because I was planning on going down to the Indy race next year. So
I've never been to Chicago. That might be the time.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe I can get my wife to go.
There you go.
And she could be disgusted with me.
She doesn't have to go all the way to Chicago for that, James.
That's right. She's disgusted with me on a daily basis at this point. Oh man.
Other news. Article on NASCAR.com. Still nothing signed for Kyle Busch at Joe Gibbs Racing. We hinted at it earlier. The folks at Joe Gibbs Racing basically saying that they're going to do everything they can to get him signed, but they're having trouble finding a sponsor. James, is this Kyle Busch's personality or is this Kyle Busch's price tag that's causing the issue?
Well, I think it's the price tag, honestly.
Yeah,
but
I think so too.
Eric, you have been pounding your fist that there is no way he's leaving Joe Gibbs Racing.
He's not. Where's he going to go?
Are you shaky? Are you a little nervous though?
No.
If Tony Stewart and Ford said, "Hey, come on. We'll give you what you need. We got Haas money over here. We don't need all that sponsorship. Get over here."
First of all, no, I'm not nervous about him going anywhere. There is a slight concern of him not racing at all, of them not being able to find something for him and him going and just running the truck team next year.
That would be insane.
It would be insane, but I mean,
he's at the peak
he's not
going to
race for he's not going to race for free.
Well, no, but the fact that they got the Martin Truex Jr. deal done first really bothers me.
Yeah.
Really bothers me. You got to get I know they're both champions, but you got to get the big dog done. He's the best driver in that stable.
Well, and the thing is I mean, we're looking at a new TV contract. Is the holdup here multi-year deal? It could be.
Oh, for sure. Eric, this is the same.
Because Kyle doesn't want to sign a 1-year deal.
You know how much Kyle likes Brad Keselowski, right?
Right.
He's Brad Keselowski.
Yeah.
But Brad kept taking 1-year deals and discounts and to his own disservice.
Yep.
Kyle ain't doing that. He learned from what Brad did. Brad did it wrong.
Right.
Because Brad couldn't get the long-term deal done. And you could say Brad did it right because now he's got his own thing. Results be what they are, but he's got his own team now.
Yeah.
Kyle just wants the long-term. Man, if Toyota loses Kyle Busch after losing Kyle Larson, unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, if you were TRD, wouldn't you just sponsor him? I mean, I know that's a lot of money, but wouldn't you think that you just...
Well, they're invested in him big time, but...
Right. But I mean, with the truck team deal and everything, I mean, They gotta
Eric,
keep him.
what
They
if-
gotta keep him.
Eric, what if it became Stewart Haas Busch Motorsports?
Oh my God.
Eric,
No way.
SHR has not announced anything for that team.
That's true.
And Kevin Harvick.
It's not like they
isn't
haven't
even
had a
set in
Bush there
stone.
before.
That's right.
You're talking crazy. This is
I'm
just as
just
crazy
saying-
as me saying Ross Chastain's the next Dale Earnhardt.
Well, this is as crazy as you saying Dale Earnhardt was an idiot.
I don't have the guts to make that the episode title, by the way.
Oh man, that would be the one.
I don't think I do.
That would be the one. That would put us over the top. We'd have so much hate from that.
I know.
Embrace the hate.
I wanted to put something about Food Lion in the title, but
Yeah, that we'd get in trouble for that. I don't know, man. We've seen this craziness before, and it's just there's a lot of stuff that's not done that's too close to put to bed. You know what I mean?
this would be the biggest fail for Joe Gibbs Racing to lose Kyle Busch.
This would be the second time Haas has hired a two-time champion away from Joe Gibbs Racing, if they could pull it off.
Yeah.
The two greatest drivers in the history of Joe Gibbs Racing would have gone to Haas. Unbelievable. I'm just saying it's out there.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Man, I hope it
Kyle's going to
does.
re-sign.
I would start rooting for Kyle Busch so fast it would make your head spin if
Yeah.
you drove for Stuart Haas.
I mean, I'd love the story.
Oh yeah.
The story of Kyle leaving would be great. I mean, you're talking almost as big as Dale Earnhardt Jr. leaving DEI. mean,
If they gave Kyle part ownership and that would just be beautiful synergy.
Yeah.
You got the KBM stuff already lined up with the truck series. It would just be beautiful.
yeah.
I'm actually all for this now. I've talked myself into it. I wasn't even thinking about all this and just talked myself right into it. I'm in.
And then
Let's go. Bring him in.
Then he announces this week that he's re-signing with Joe Gibbs Racing.
Probably. Yeah.
All right, James. I don't think there's any other news. Let's talk New Hampshire. We're going to New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. The only race at New Hampshire at the Magic Mile this year. Little skeptical about what we're going to see. I'm mildly optimistic because of what we saw at Gateway. Because this track is a track that has a groove that is up a lane from the bottom. So maybe we'll be all right, but also very leery after what we saw at Richmond and Phoenix. So I don't know. I think I'm more leery than hopeful, but maybe we'll see a good race here.
Yep.
Maybe.
I am hopeful, and New Hampshire's been good
Yeah.
since they went to one race, and I'm optimistic. I think
hope
this will
so.
be a good race.
I hope it's a good one. Last week, James, you gained a ton on me.
I did. I didn't finish the deal though.
You did not
I got
finish
within
the deal.
5.
Yeah.
I got within 5.
Yep, you did not finish the deal. I still have a 12-point lead left here.
I gained 61 points.
Yeah, I think that was what it was.
Man, I needed it. I
Yeah.
needed it so bad because I was hurting.
Well, I'm done taking risks, so no risks this week. But I'm still on the fence on who I'm picking. So you get to go first still, which will help me make my decisions. Who's your pick? The Xfinity Series is the Crayon 200, apparently.
The Corolla?
Anyway, who's your pick for the Xfinity Series?
Well, I'm going for the lead right now.
All right.
Give me Justin Allgaier.
Okay.
I'm gonna come at you hard with with one of the better drivers in the history of New Hampshire for this. So let's go.
All right, I'm gonna go with Junior Motorsports driver as well, and he's throwing himself some points back, and I'm going Noah Gragson.
No, Gregson.
Oh, speaking of that, we never discussed the fact that Gregson got penalized.
Yeah, we didn't put that. I'm sorry, that was my fault. We didn't
No,
put that
it's
in
all
the notes,
good.
But yeah,
It's
we
all
can
good.
hit on that real quick.
I mean, probably real quick. I think NASCAR did the right thing, right? I mean,
Yeah, he should have been docked. Inconsistent NASCAR as always, but yeah, he should have been docked for what happened.
in all honesty, if you're going to park him in the race, which is what I think they should have done,
he would have lost.
he would have lost the points. So in the end, they evened it out and made it work. So
Yep, it was a delayed call. I didn't like that. I don't like the delayed call, but yeah.
At least they made it right.
Everything in NASCAR, yeah, everything in NASCAR is
yeah,
a grain of salt. So,
Exactly.
my favorite part of that though was Brandon Brown saying that Junior Motorsports should have footed the bill for his wrecked car. That was, boy,
yeah.
he's getting harder and harder to like. Sorry.
On that note, the Cup Series runs the Ambetter 301. Speaking of which, Ambetter announced as the entitlement sponsor for the Spring Atlanta race next year. James, who you got for the Cup Series at New Hampshire?
Man, I've been hemming and hawing over what to do here.
I know I'm kind of on the fence too. I think I know where I'm going though. Unless you pick him.
I feel like I need to go for the lead. No. I'm going to make I'm going to make a little bit of a different play here. I'm going against with what I think. I'm going to take Denny Hamlin. Give me Dennis.
Damn it.
Give me Dennis. Give me Dennis. Yeah, I was really looking at Larson, but I can't pick Larson every time he comes up. So give me Dennis. And
yeah, that was the way I was going because Denny ran so good at Richmond. And Denny runs well here.
This is going to shock you.
Yeah.
This is the first Denny Hamlin pick of the season.
That's funny.
For either of us.
That's funny. And
I
we
was
both,
looking at,
and we
usually
both
I copy
him.
and paste our spreadsheet, but no, has not been picked.
You realize if we go the way we've been going with the Austin Hill pick that now Denny's going to win because I wanted him and you got him.
I'm hopeful.
In that case, I'm going to go with his arch nemesis and Ross Chastain.
Yeah, good. We get to go head to head on a high level. I like that.
This would not be a terrible track for Denny Hamlin to exact his revenge, despite the fact that it wouldn't mean anything if he did it.
Yeah.
But nice slow track to put him into the wall in the corner if he gets the opportunity.
Yeah. I was eyeballing Chase Briscoe here too because how he ran at Phoenix obviously, and then he was good at Gateway before he had some issues.
Yeah, I liked Tyler Reddick too. Was another one that I was thinking of picking. Yep. But
Almirola. We can't forget Almirola.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah,
but it was the old car. I mean,
last year he won.
Yeah, it was the old car. So it's tough. I mean, I really looked at Phoenix as my pick or my go-to for this one to see who I wanted to pick, and except that Denny ran so well at Richmond that kind of one really stuck with me. So
yep.
In other words, I mean, Martin Truex Jr. might be a good pick for that reason too, because he was really good there. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can probably gloss over Fantasy League, right? We don't need to talk about that this week.
No, we may not. We may not. I'm going to talk about it. So your winner again, James.
Yeah.
Yep, I won again. Smokey come back. Hot Rod Todd was second. Barron Speedway third, and Eric with that win. Are you ready for it?
Yeah.
We have a new points leader.
Is it you?
It's me.
Wow.
I am now in first.
I guess I got to cheer for you because I don't have a shot at it. So
so I am in first. Fast to the Grass is second. Green Eggs and Hamlin third. And Eric, less than 200 points behind the leader, lurking. The champ is here.
No, man.
He's
coming.
There's part of me that hopes he comes like a freight train to take everybody's stuff. Although he's not gaining points on me, so I'm good right now, but he's coming. He's coming. He's going to hear us talk about this on the podcast, and it's going to just make him even more angry.
Right.
But yeah, we've only had two different people leading the points all year. It's been Fast to the Grass most of the year, and Green Eggs and Hamlin snuck in there for a hot minute. But Eric, I've been trying like hell to get to first. So I got it done. I think I've won 4 of the last 6.
Yeah, you've been on a roll.
I've been on and it's gonna come back to haunt me because I'm gonna run out of luck eventually. All the bad luck I've had over the years is gonna come flying back to haunt me. So yeah, it's gonna get hard to talk about because I'm tooting my own horn, and you know how much I hate doing that.
Yeah, right.
So.
On that note, you got any shout outs this week, James?
Eric, I texted you this immediately.
Yeah.
My shout out this week is going to go to Race Hub and the Ernie Irvan special, which you can find online.
Yes.
But the best part about that was while the Ernie Irvan special was airing, I got a retweet on Twitter.
That's awesome.
I was pretty excited. From Ernie Irvan himself.
I was going to say, just so everybody
knows,
Ernie Irvan himself. Ernie Irvan. Very cool.
Yes, I was so pumped, man. He was sitting back watching his own special and saw my name and clicked on the button.
That's cool.
Pretty happy.
Man, Ernie did not. I would not recognize Ernie if he came.
If you saw him in person,
if I saw him in person, I would not recognize him.
I can't remember when we talked about him. It might have been last year, but he's moving awful slow.
Yeah.
Right now, and
he's taking some hits.
big time hits. You know, and I think one of the best parts about that special is I've only seen a little bit of his wreck from the Xfinity Series race that ended his career.
Mm-hmm.
They showed a little bit more detail.
I didn't even know there was video of it, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that much video because I had only seen the quick video of the car sliding out of turn 4.
Mm-hmm.
But they definitely showed a little bit more of it that I hadn't seen another angle. So that was an interesting. Man, Michigan took everything from that guy.
Yeah.
And gave it back to him in a sense, but with his win. But yeah, that was cool. It was a good special. I wish they would have gone a little bit deeper on it, but I was.
Yeah, that's the
very
problem
happy
with those
with it.
short films on Race Hub is that they're short. You know,
For short. Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, that was gonna be my shout out too. Just if you guys haven't watched it, I'm
It's
sure.
good.
I'm sure you can find it. NASCAR and Fox probably has it on YouTube or whatever, but it's worth a watch. You know, especially if you were from that era. There was something in it that I learned that I didn't realize or something. I can't remember what it was, but
Was it? Gosh, it was. Yeah, there was a couple of nuggets, and I think you and I have talked about. I have his book. I should give it to you to read.
Yeah.
If you ever wanted to read it, it's an interesting read.
I remember. I
Um,
do remember that race when he got the first win in the 28 car and him wearing the Davey Allison shirt under his uniform.
Yep.
That was pretty cool.
Yep.
You know, there was just the with Ernie being on the on Dale Jr.'s, was it Dale Jr.'s podcast he was on?
Yeah, he was on Dale Jr.'s
He was on
podcast,
that,
yeah.
and a couple things I've seen with him recently. You know, we didn't realize. I don't think we even realized at the time as we were going through it how unlikely. I mean, first of all, he wasn't going to survive. Like,
Yes, he was gonna. Yeah, he had 10% chance to live.
this
Yep.
was Davey Allison all over again. Like we were going to lose Ernie, so close to not making it, and not only, I mean, in a coma for how long?
He was in a coma for at least 2 weeks.
He had to relearn how
and
to walk.
Eric, he had a tracheotomy done in the car.
Yeah.
With a broken knife
Yeah.
to save his life.
And goes and not only comes back, but comes back almost as good as he was in his
he was
prime. And comes back and
with an eye
wins
patch on.
races. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, with an
just
eye
an
patch on.
incredible story. And the injury that he had at Michigan was the same injury that killed Dale Earnhardt.
Yes,
You know, it's that the skull fracture that so many drivers passed away because of.
and killed it killed Davey Allison's brother at Michigan.
Yeah. Killed
Same-
Clifford.
same-
It took
Yep.
Adam Petty. It took Kenny Irwin.
Kenny Irwin.
Tony Roper. You know, these
Yes.
drivers that
He was the one who survived.
yeah, just incredible.
Yeah, that car, the overhead shot of that car under the tarp, where the front end is still sticking out and the tarp's on the car.
Yeah.
How smashed that car was. I guess I've seen the video clip so many times, but when I saw
That's the one it was. It was Larry Mack talking about what happened
Yeah.
that really got me.
Well, if you read Ernie's book, there's Larry Mack goes to the car and there is what he thought was oil coming down the track, and it wasn't oil. Let's put it
Jeez.
that way. That's how bad the scene of the crash was.
Yeah, I mean, I was at the track. We were at the campsite across the street from the track, but it was such an eerie sound. You heard the cars, and then I swear, I mean, where we were camping was probably a mile and a half away from where Ernie hit, but I
Yep.
swear we heard it. And
Yep.
then everything shuts down. It's just silent. My dad had a scanner going and was listening to. He'd just have the scanner running when the cars were on the track, and listening to the conversation about it. And just, I mean, we lived it all right there, early that morning across the street from the track, and just.
And
And I
people
remember going
forget-
through the same thing when Ernie hit the second time. You know, we were at the
Yeah.
same place.
Yep.
Just crazy.
And people forget also how legit of a championship contender he
Yeah.
was that season. He was coming for Dale Earnhardt's. He was going to possibly keep Dale Earnhardt from winning 7.
Yeah, Earnhardt
And we
would
may
very
be
likely have
talking
6
about Dale
championships.
Earnhardt. Yep. Because Dale never got back to the championship form after '94.
Yep.
Ernie could have won the first Brickyard 400. Probably should have won the first Brickyard 400 that season.
Yep.
Until he got a flat tire, like very, very late in that race. So he could have taken that moment from Jeff Gordon. You think about these major moments in that era, and Ernie was like right there. Could have had, if luck had gone his way. Gosh, what such bad luck
Yeah.
he had. but he was so good for and Ford even coming after him to get him to drive that car. That was a big thing too.
Yeah.
Because Ford wanted the anti-Dale Earnhardt. They wanted somebody to come after him, and man, that car they were so fast.
Yep.
Yeah. Winning races in the same season Davey Allison died in the 28 because they kept the font on the 28 car the same from to end 93 before they changed it. Because that was Davey's 28.
Right.
And that 28 car would always be, no matter who drove it, that was always Davey Allison's car.
Yeah.
So you had to change the number a little bit. And Ernie was basically making it his own there for a while, for half a season basically.
Yep.
Before that crash. So crazy.
Yeah.
It was good. That was really good.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to go into Jackass Corner after that.
Yeah.
But it is time for Jackass Corner. James, you got a Jackass this week.
I'm going to give it to NASCAR for throwing that flag, that yellow flag at the end. That really, really got me going. So I'll use my JA for that.
I don't really have a good one this week, so I'm going to give it to Denny Hamlin for talking smack and that he's not going to do anything, and he'll continue to be my jackass until he does something. Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. If you missed it, Denny's social team posted a funny meme after the race at Atlanta, and Denny responded that apparently the social team has a better sense of humor about the incident than he does.
That's so good.
And I would probably argue that when Denny got in trouble earlier this season, it probably was his social team that did it too.
Possibly.
So I don't see Denny creating the memes. I see his social team doing it. Maybe it was by his direction, but he certainly took the brunt of it either way.
Yep.
So yeah, Denny's my jackass.
There you go. Perfect.
James, if people want to hit you up on social media during the week, how do they do that?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find the podcast on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find old episodes of the podcast, show notes, links to articles we discussed, past race coverage, photos, and much, much more. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. We hope you subscribe and continue to listen and listen for new episodes each and every week. It is New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend, the only stop on the tour for the NASCAR Cup Series. Xfinity Series in action as well. SRX heads to the dirt. We'll be back next week to break it all down. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.